It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Great.
Peachy.
Okay.
Hope everybody's doing okay out there. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Oh, man. I don't have a lot that I've done.
Oh, God. you know where this goes when she says that.
So my mind starts racing. I'm grabbing something. No, I guess my YouTube algorithm is stuck on like child murderers or something as far as true crime goes, because that's all that's been on there. And
I can't say I'm shocked, but okay.
Right. Some of it, I mean, I've always been the person that every victim deserves to have their story heard. You know, they deserve to be remembered, you know. And sometimes I get a little too stuck in that, and I have to back away.
Yeah, you don't have to be the one to listen to all of them. That's the
right.
Deal. You can take a break.
That's what I've come to the conclusion of. Because I won't go into details because it was really bad, but parents of an 8-year-old boy, and it's always sad when something happens to a child, but to me it's even more horrific when you find out it was their parents, you know? The people who are supposed to love and protect these kids, and they didn't. They completely failed, you know? So, I follow a group on Facebook that does true crimes, and they mentioned this little boy. His name was Tadoka. It's like Dakota, but with a T. Tadoka? I can't pronounce it right. And from that, it kind of led me down the rabbit hole that I wish I wouldn't have followed. So sad. But from there, it was like, oh, here, watch this one. And you watch that one, now you got to watch these monsters. And yeah.
No.
Hey, here's more of this shit.
No, you don't.
Yeah. And here's more dead kids, you know. So, yeah, I kind of got away from YouTube for a while, too. And I don't know. I've just, yeah. I don't want to sound depressing, but I'm finding a lot of the things that used to bring me joy doesn't. So I'm trying to find something. I don't know what the hell I'm looking for. Yeah, I got to find a new happy, and it's just kind of
murdered children's probably not it.
Probably not it. Probably not a good start to that.
I mean, you got to start somewhere, admittedly, but
right.
And there's probably not much way to go down from there either. So
no, not a lot to go down. But yeah, so I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm in a funky mood, and I should be pretty happy because TV's finally on spooky season. I think the weather's trying to catch up, so hey, you know.
Is it though? We set records all weekend.
Yeah.
As we hit 101 Sunday, yeah.
Right, you know.
And Saturday.
Yeah.
A girl can wish. I'm ready for this heat to be over with. It's just, yeah.
It's a lot.
It is. It can't last too much longer, I'm hoping. Like I said, we're in spooky season. It should be cool.
Still hasn't fucking rained in my house either.
You didn't get the rain?
Not
We
not more than a trace. And
we
if
we
that
got,
happened, it was overnight and nobody saw it.
we got some rain last night. It didn't last too long, but it was weird because I had looked at my phone app because I knew it was supposed to rain that day, and it said it wasn't supposed to happen until like 10 o'clock. And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
we can get out and do this and this and this. And no sooner you get out and it's hailing and raining, and it's like, what
the
the hell?
the local weatherman said it wasn't going to really start here in the area until after 8, and
Yeah.
I got hail around 6:30 or so.
Yeah. It started like way early, like dinner time. I
It's
was
like,
expecting like nighttime.
Okay.
But I'm happy it came because, like I said, we needed it. So I've got little fruit trees that really appreciated it. And did I tell you guys my bees are gone? Like
They
3
Somebody
hives.
stole your bees?
Remember I kept telling you guys they kept swarming, and I didn't know what was going on because they had food, they're set up good, everything was perfect, but I didn't look in the lower hive. And the year before last, we had those silkworm things all over the freaking place.
Mm.
Well, apparently they had gotten into that bottom hive, and I didn't realize that. And yeah, bees are gone. But it's kind of one of those things. It's like, I don't know if I want to do that again.
Mm. I was pretty sure you
bees
didn't
are
want to do
gone.
it the first time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There was things that you had to learn, like don't leave the back porch light on. They like the porch light. And on the cool mornings, we can't do that right now, but I like to open the back door to get, air the house out, get a good breeze going through here. Well, if you do that and the kitchen lights are on, I have LEDs in there, and man, that's like the sun to them, I guess. So I'd have like 20 bees in the kitchen. Can't kill them because that's mean. So yeah, I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that again. But just in case, if you guys ever have a bee in your house and you don't want to kill them, if you shut off all the lights and like if your door has a window on it, they'll go to that door and then you just open it and they'll go right on out. A few bee stings later, that's my tip I'm passing along. But yeah.
I've done something similar with with houseflies, because there's been a couple times where I'll find one like in the front bathroom at night and the light's on, so it's flying around and all that. So what I would do is I close the door and I turn the light off, because they'll stop flying because all of a sudden it's thinking it's nighttime.
Yeah.
And then I turn the light back on and I see it like on the window, and then that's when I get rid of it.
Yep. You can open the window and they go right out.
Well,
You could.
Yeah.
Totally
I
do
could,
that.
I could totally do that. I didn't, but you can.
Some are stupid. They'll fly right in, and then you open the door, and it's like they'll hit the wall, or they'll hit the door, and it's like, come on.
It's
You
like
flew
they
in this
don't know
little
what a
bitty
door
fucking
is, isn't it? I mean, damn. What the hell schools are these bees going to or flies going to? Jeez. They don't know nothing.
Nothing. It's like, Jesus Christ. Just fly out the damn door. Yeah, I'm sure I'll have more next week instead of bee talk.
To be continued.
Yeah. Ooh. To be or not to be? I've said not. All right, not again.
See, that was one of those things that I wasn't aware that you had a choice on. I thought they just showed up one day.
On the bees?
Yeah, the bees.
No, we
And by
had.
showed up, I mean Phil brought them home.
Oh, yeah. Phil brought. He rescued a hive from somebody. and we probably had like four different times delivered. It's like, I know my mailman hates me. I didn't know you could have bees mailed.
I wouldn't
It's
have
like, why
thought it.
didn't I know this when I broke up with my ex?
Wow.
That would have been a pretty nice little gift.
Damn.
I mean,
Can
he's
you do that
definitely
with murder
allergic, but they're in a
hornets?
little cage, right?
Are they?
Uh,
Or are they just in the box? I mean, come on.
yeah, they're in a box.
I guess that's one way to get rid of Amazon stealers.
Right? Holy shit. It's kind of like, it's going to sound so stupid, but it's kind of like a lobster trap, like on SpongeBob, the Krusty Krab. It kind of looks like that, mesh over wood. You can totally see what's inside of there. And then they hang the queen from the middle in this little, like, candy piece. Yeah, it's not what I was expecting when he was like, oh, I've got some bees coming today. And for married people, how is that a normal conversation? Oh, hope you have a good day at work. Oh, by the way, I've got 1,500 bees on the way.
As a married person, I can say, no, that's not normal.
No, just me.
I have not had that problem, not once, in how the hell many years? 24 years.
We've been together almost 30. We've had some very interesting discussions. I wish I could say bees was the most abnormal.
No, this is not therapy.
Therapy.
Liz,
Uh-huh.
did you know about the Crime Con this past weekend?
I did not.
They had a Crime Con in Orlando. It's like a 3-day event, and they had booths and panel discussions, things like that, about true crime.
So what, they show you how to hide a body, or?
No, nothing that particular.
Right, were there any busts that weekend?
Right.
So
That'd be pretty interesting, though. There's a few of them that I like watching on YouTube. I used to watch like Bailey Sarian and people like that who would like tell a story while they were putting on makeup. And it's like, no, I kind of want to see not murder photos, but I want to see the crime scenes. I want to know what they're talking about, not just hear someone tell me the story,
Yeah, I would like to know that also. Give me a visual as to what they found.
Right. Or, when they're talking about, the home conditions. Well, show me the home conditions, because a rundown home to someone could be, not so bad to somebody else.
Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of like, I want to see what they're considering, a rundown condition, or, just to kind of get a visual and wrap your head around, okay, I guess for crime, I'm always trying to find out why. And I guess for one thing, if I understood it, I'd be a psychopath just like they are. But sometimes there is no why. It's evil, and that's why they did it, Little girl disappeared. They found the people who killed her, but they were kind of like, well, why her? And it was like, well, she was the first one who walked out of the school building that day. It's like, that's fucked up, because how do you protect yourself from that? Just walking home from school, happen to be the first one they saw. You can't protect yourself from that.
Nope.
No, I'll have to look that up. I wonder if Orlando's the only place they do it at.
Well, it was the first one, so I don't know.
Ah, okay.
It may not be till next year that they play it again.
Do another?
Yeah. Did you ever read Vincent Bugliosi's book about the Manson family? Bugliosi was the prosecuting attorney in that trial, and he broke it down so well as to what was going on.
I don't know who wrote it, but I think the best one I've read so far is Helter Skelter.
That's it.
That's him.
Is that him? Okay.
Yeah.
I liked that because, I mean, they didn't get too graphic, but they did show you the crime scenes and where they found things and the writings on the walls and that kind of thing. That was crazy. And I mean,
he also wrote a book about a couple that were sailing around the world, and they were attacked by a couple of people, and as a result, he was the prosecuting attorney on that one too. And
they were attacked like out at sea, or?
Yes, the people.
Oh, wow.
They were mooring in a little cove area.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in the Pacific Ocean. This is not just, hi, I'm going out for the day.
Right.
But they attacked these people, and he had to prove his case. And I was mesmerized because he had such a way of telling the story, like he did in Helter Skelter.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about the two crime scenes, the Tate LaBianca murders. And he saw that the two factions were sitting across the aisle from one another and did not put it together that they were looking at the same group.
Mm. Wow. You know, they just released the last girl from prison over the Manson murders. And I don't know if I agree with that.
Is that Leslie Van Houten?
I think it is. Yep. And the governor of California, you know, he told him every time that she came up for parole, he was like, no, I don't think so. And this last time he told him that he wasn't going to fight him over it. And it's like, well, gee, I'm glad you gave up the fight because her, you know, their family didn't. They didn't want her running loose. And I'm trying to wrap my brain around, how do you rehabilitate someone who thought it would be a good idea to plunge a fork into a pregnant belly and then take that blood and write war pigs on the walls? This is a person that's now walking free, you know, because she's, I don't know. And people are like, oh, they were brainwashed. Yeah, so let's let another psychopath find her and brainwash her and fork another one. I mean, I don't know. I just think some people don't deserve, if we can't kill them, you know, I'm totally for the death penalty, especially in cases of horrific cases like that. All of them should have been put to death. We shouldn't have had to feed and give them, you know, shelter for 30, 40 years, however long it's been. But we did, and we should have kept them that way because I think, weren't they sentenced to death And then they changed their laws that said, oh, we can't kill people anymore. Okay, that's fine. I understand that because, democracy. But if you're not going to kill them, then you at least have to keep them till they die. Not, oh, they're better now. Turn them loose. That's just, to me, that's whacked. There's just certain people we can't make better. And I think people who take murders that far, there's a sickness there that you're not healing that. That doesn't go away. She just got tired of being in prison and found out the right things to say,
I agree. What about those kids in Las Vegas recently that ran over the former police chief? And they videoed it so they could post it and show what they had done.
Oh, wow.
Did you see anything about that?
I didn't see anything about that.
Did you guys see that?
No.
No.
They were joyriding in a stolen car and ran a red light, came up on a man on a bicycle, and the one videoing it was saying, okay, do it. They ran up behind the rider and hit him from behind. They even jumped the curb to do so. And I did not get to see all of it because the station wouldn't show it all. But they got to the point where they were upon him and then hit him from behind. Story was the rider, who was 64, I think, went over the top of the car and then crashed behind it, died on sight.
Damn.
They have apprehended both kids and are going to try them as adults.
Good. They need to be tried as adults. That's like here in Dallas. Phil has a friend named Judge Kim, and he's trying the kid he shot one kid, and the shrapnel from the bullet hit another kid in the face.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm wanting to say the kid that got hit in the face was critical, but I'm wanting to say the kid he shot died, and they're trying to decide if they're going to charge him as a juvenile or an adult. And it's like, hello, he made an adult decision with an adult weapon. Now we need to treat him like what he wanted to be, like an adult, but they've decided to try him as a juvenile. And it's like, that's some bullshit. That's some total freaking bullshit. That makes me so mad. So now he's going to spend, time in prison because, God, I think this was one of the ones we have videotaped, plus not to mention how many witnesses that witnessed the whole thing happen. So we're going to put him in a juvenile center for 2 years till he turns 18 and then decide if we want to keep him locked up or if he's rehabilitated. There's 2 kids, one dead, but 2 kids whose lives are forever changed. Why does he have the right to walk free on that? They didn't. They didn't have a choice in any of the matter. But since he's 16, but the parent, they charged as an adult, of course, because he is, They charged him with the gun weapon, and he's going to be sitting in prison on a felony gun charge, which, hey, he should. If you have guns, you shouldn't let your children around them, period. If they get into it and they kill someone, that's your responsibility. But I think they should also try the child as an adult. You made an adult decision. You thought you's grown. Now let me show you what it means to be grown, you know?
Yeah.
There's just some, I mean, these kids nowadays. I have a niece who is a teacher, and she's like, they're just mean. They're disrespectful. They don't want to learn. And what do? We can't yell at them anymore because we'll hurt their feelings and you can lose your job for that. You know, we can't discipline them anymore because people didn't like that either. You know, what do? Give them vacation for 3 days? Yeah, that's going to fix the problem, you know. But I don't know what's happened, but it seems like since the pandemic where we locked our kids up for a couple of years, they've lost their fucking minds, you know. They're mean. And I'm not saying all kids, but, and I've said that before about the adults too. You walk into the store nowadays and it's like people are looking for that little bitty thing to snap your head off for so they can post it on TikTok and get a couple of views, you know. Like, I don't get it.
I don't think you're alone, though.
Yeah.
Jesus, you guys call me cynical. Shit.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
People were crazy before the pandemic.
They were.
I don't think there are more people that are crazy now.
But we amplified it. They got to the habit of you didn't have to go to the office every day and put up with, you know, Bob the Slob at the water cooler, you know. And now 2 years later, you're coming back in and here's Bob. And you're like, Bob, shut the fuck up. I don't want to listen to you because I haven't had to listen to you for 2 fucking years now. So, sorry, Bob.
Jesus, Liz, what did Bob do to you? Holy cow.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like they didn't, all of these little things that we learned that are just quirky and makes you, we've learned now, I don't like you. And I don't have to be around you. I was happier when I wasn't around you. And here's where we're at, you know. They'd rather pick up a phone and record you than throw their hand out to help you. That's where we're at today.
Again, that was before the pandemic, too.
Yeah. But it's just worse. Like I said, I think the pandemic just kind of amplified and made us a little bit more short-fused because for so long we didn't have to put up with this, you know. And I hate to say it, when essential workers were working, you went to the grocery store, there was maybe 10, 15 people. You didn't have to put up with that then. Now there's 50, and it's like, do you have to stop right in front of me? Your cart's on wheels because you go.
Yeah, but you gotta stop and look at the 17 different brands of honey and decide which one you want, because you might want something different this time.
And you scoot over to one side. It's kind of like the road, one way. Get in your lane.
No, they
Don't
don't.
be rational, Mike.
Right.
They don't make the aisles in the grocery store one way anymore. They stopped that, remember?
Well, it was funny because during the pandemic, they put these stickers down on the floor, and it was like, you know, only go this way and that kind of thing. And it's like, people are like, oh, well, this is just outrageous. You don't have to tell me how to go. And it's like, honey, somebody had to. I'm glad there's stickers on the damn floor that tells you to go or to get off my ass, you know. So maybe it's me.
I was trying real hard not to say it, but I don't think what you're describing is experienced by everyone. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't like people any more than you do, generally speaking, but they're not all out to kill me.
I've gotten very intolerant. People are like, oh, I hate self-checkouts. I love them. I absolutely love anything that they add where I don't have to talk to somebody or just take my money, give me my shit, let me get out of there.
There you
Don't
go.
have to be how I am.
Yeah, I like the self checkouts. It's funny, the grocery store close to where I live that I use all the time. They had them, 3 or 4 years ago, and I guess people complain. Like we'd rather have checkers instead of doing all this. So they took them out. Then the pandemic hit, so they put them right back in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how much money was just spent on all that?
Yeah.
A few hours of labor to set them up. They're not that hard.
Well, yeah. They didn't get rid of. Well, I mean, I don't know.
I like them.
Oh, I do too.
And the way I shop, I have everything in my basket, so it all goes in the bag the way it's supposed to. I let someone, I guess part of that too is it goes to, I don't like somebody touching my stuff. Everybody was sick, and you put these little plexiglass walls around you, but yet you're touching all of my shit. What point was that? I've touched it all to put it in the basket. Now you're going to touch it all to ring it up. Now Joe Schmo's going to touch it to put it in a bag. Just give me my shit. Let me touch it, put it in a bag, take it home. We're good. And I didn't have to fake nice to anyone. Oh, I hope you're having a good day. I don't care. And
I got two problems with checking out my own groceries. One, I hate doing the produce.
Yeah, that is a drawback.
And two, 90% of the people in line to check out at the grocery store are in the self-checkout line.
Yeah.
So yeah, I avoid.
Well, that's when you go grab the one cashier they
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I do.
See, with produce, that's easy. Everything is bananas.
Which is
Bananas
only slightly
is
illegal.
1313.
Jeez.
Yeah. Now, most of the time, if I'm doing like that kind of grocery shopping, I have it delivered. And part of that is my hands. My hands are crap, and I can't carry all of the bags and crap. So self-checkout for little stuff, dinner, But if I'm grocery shopping, I have that delivered.
See, I don't trust.
And then I
don't trust the people in the grocery store to pick out my stuff for me.
The only thing I've had a problem with is produce.
Right.
It's like they will give you the most busted up, moldy looking crap. And it's like, how are they even selling this? I have never gotten tomatoes delivered that didn't have mold on them. And it's like, what? Do you just have them in a bag? And I don't know,
Yeah,
So
they're not selective enough, and they're never going to be
No.
as selective as I'm going to be. So I'm not going to do that.
Well, I don't
rule.
have produce delivered. Only because I have a Mexican food store like at the end of my street, and their produce is like dirt cheap. So, and if, when I shop for anywhere from a week to 2 weeks at a time. I don't want to buy 14 tomatoes, so they'll go up there as I need it.
I'm a little surprised you trust Phil to do this for you.
Oh, until they started delivering, he took grocery shopping away from me.
This does not surprise me, I have to say.
Yeah.
Well, he was bitching because you're spending too much money. And I said, okay, and I'm only getting the basics because I hated this conversation every single time. Only getting the basics. And I said, okay, if you think you can do this any cheaper, then have at it. So he did.
Does he do it cheaper, or did you just not take it away from him when he didn't?
No, he did it cheaper. And, he went to 2 stores, but
Ah.
he did do it cheaper. And even if you figure in gas and everything else, it was cheaper. Plus, he wasn't taking 2 kids grocery shopping with him, which is always expensive, always. And,
I got 1, and it's expensive.
yeah, I would feed him dinner so he didn't go, hungry. But
That's
yeah,
what we do. We go after dinner. We go.
yeah. He cut our grocery bill down in half. So it was like, okay, here's my tiara, have at it.
You are now officially the pretty princess of grocery shopping. Hi, Phil.
But there's a few things I've had to smack him around about. We don't buy generic paper towels or toilet paper. There's some things you have to spend money on.
I won't argue with the toilet paper thing.
Yeah. Peanut butter.
The paper towels, I don't care. The peanut butter is, oh man, we've had bad experiences with peanut butter and nuts in general.
Yeah. And see, paper towels, it seems to me like the cheap ones. You dry your hands off and then you've got like this smell. And it's like, dear God, I just washed my hands and it's the paper towel smell. It's like paper towels should not have a chemically wood smell. They shouldn't. They should smell like nothing. And if your hands smell like that, what is it putting on your hands from the paper towel?
You've thought about this way too much.
I have.
You realize that, right?
Right. Well, see, that's my deal.
No,
I'm quirky like that.
I agree with you. Okay, and so my God, we were so fucking far down the rabbit hole on this one. The thing that bothers me is the sponges that we buy. I honestly have to go. When I use the sponge in the kitchen, I mean, we throw the damn thing out every week or so. I mean, It's not like it's sitting there for 4 months and it's like completely rancid. It's a new sponge, and I have to go in the bathroom and wash my hands after I use it because I can't stand the smell.
Yeah.
So I sympathize.
What is that?
Yeah.
Things like that shouldn't leave a smell on your hands.
I don't think, but man, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe I'm enabling you on this, but I can't help myself.
Good job, man. Good job.
And I also can't stand pennies. If I have pennies, if you give me change and there's pennies in it, I will freak out for
Pick
one.
around the pennies.
But I have to go and wash my hands because it leaves that coppery metal smell.
Mm-hmm.
And when I used to be a manager of a U-Haul, and I went to check a truck in, I opened the back of the truck, and I found out that a gang had initiated a guy and caught him on fire and threw him in the back of a U-Haul truck. So when I opened the back door, I immediately get hit with this metallic coppery smell, which I found out later is burnt flesh. And so now every time any kind of metal that will leave a smell on you, it makes me sick. I totally gag sick. So, yeah.
That was not a story I was expecting to hear today.
Yeah, that's
Right.
definitely TMI.
I'm surprised I haven't told you guys about the burnt guy in the back of the truck before.
No, I'm pretty sure I'd remember that one.
Yeah,
Right.
that's kind of hard to forget.
I'm going to be trying real
How many
hard tonight,
times
though.
does that happen? I even had to go to court over that deal.
I could bet.
Yeah. The whole time I worked there, I had to go to court twice. Another time, a guy rented one of our little S10 pickup trucks and went to Arkansas, kidnapped his girlfriend, came back and kept her at like a motel across the street from the U-Haul place.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a
Now
lot.
we know where the love for true crime comes from.
So that
It just follows me.
so your career at U-Haul was the busiest 3 weeks of your life, wasn't it?
Right. I was there for a few years.
I was kidding.
But after the burnt truck, I transferred to a smaller store because it was like, you know, especially I had to go to court over that deal, and that was gang related. So that was like scary shit,
That's
you know.
dangerous, yeah.
Yeah. I transferred stores and then quit a few months after that.
And then went into witness protection. And...
Right. Bought a few guns, you know.
Just a reminder. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. They're all registered.
So you have nothing this week, huh, Liz?
Nothing
Absolutely
at all.
nothing, man.
God.
Just the bee thing.
I told you. It's always a red flag when she says, I got nothing this week.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours later.
Because my brain starts scrambling and I just grab everything. Here we go.
Right. That's
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
It's okay to have nothing, Liz. It is. It's all right.
If we've learned nothing in our experience with Liz on the show, it's that she has to fill the silence.
Yep. I don't enjoy the silence. I enjoy Depeche Mode, not the silence.
Wow. Cannot believe you made that joke.
Okay, Mikey.
Yeah, like I'm gonna try to top that. Honestly, I really don't have anything but I have reasons for not having anything, which I'm not gonna go into anywhere near that much detail about. But yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
Now the problem is that last week was crazy because we had some stuff done here at the house. And so it's still a chaotic mess, even to this day, which was fun because we had house guests over the weekend. So it was a mad scramble to get ready to do the work, and then it was a mad scramble to do the work, and then it was a mad scramble to clean up after the work. And then it was a mad scramble because there were people in my house, which is fucking weird. And yeah, that's been my week, or honestly more like 2 at this point. But so yeah, I haven't I'm working on watching stuff for Horror Month because I have to stay ahead. It makes me crazy if I don't stay at least a little bit ahead. I gotta let stuff get in my brain and seep around and do all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's other than that, I've been cleaning out closets and then putting stuff back in closets and then trying not to put everything back in the closets because it was a mess to start with. And ultimately it's going to end up being a mess again, but can't be helped. That's my lame excuse for not being able to top the bees and the U-Haul truck.
Did you check the bee's knees on that too?
I don't think they have knees.
What do you mean they don't have knees?
They don't have knees.
Bees have to have knees.
Why do they have to have knees?
I have no idea, but it sounded good.
They got
There
no
was-
knees.
If I had
There
wings,
wasn't
I wouldn't
a-
give a shit about having knees either, so it's fine.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to have wings. Anyway, I'm not contributing to this rabbit hole anymore.
Right. Okay, Les.
No rabbit hole for me. So let's move on.
Chicken.
What?
Well, for me, pretty much working on stuff for next month. Trying to finish up all the films, which you wouldn't think would take long, because longest one's probably about an hour and a half. But, other things been going on, so that's about it for me. So what?
Nothing. Nope.
Sounds like it's a
I'm
good.
behind.
Sounds like it's a good thing you went off, Liz, because otherwise we wouldn't have had nothing in this part of the show.
Well, we're trying to make up for it, because holy shit. Okay. It is that time again. It's time for another casting call.
Yay.
If you're new to the podcast, what we do is every other month I have come up with either a movie project or a TV project or what have you. We've even done animated stuff. And we'll just do a casting call, and it's set at a certain time period. We've even gone back to the early 40s, because we did a Indiana Jones movie serial, like the old cliffhangers that were played every Saturday afternoon. So for this one, for this month, we are celebrating the 45th anniversary of the release of John Carpenter's Halloween. And the reason for my madness is what we're doing is we are casting the film, but the film was instead of being released in 78, was released in 68. And the method to my madness, the reason why I did that, is something I have kind of noticed a lot more the last couple years or so, when anybody talks about the first film or the second film, and there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Some things always to point out, but one of the things I think gets overlooked is the fact that it's set in Haddonfield, which is a very quiet town, almost like it's kind of a throwback town. It's kind of like a town you would know from the 50s or 60s, other than the fact that, hey, you got teenagers that are listening to Blue Oyster Cult and getting high and getting drunk and screwing, but all that was done in the 50s and 60s as well, except for Blue Oyster Cult, because they were 70s. But it just seems like that some of that innocence has we kind of don't take that into account for the original film. So I thought, if we did it 10 years earlier, would that innocence, would it be a little bit more pronounced? Maybe so, maybe not. The more I thought about it, like what's going on in 68 and late 60s and all in all, I don't know. But just based off of that, I said, well, let's do the film in this year. So that's a very long-winded explanation for why I did that. So I apologize. So let's go ahead and cast this film. I do have one request. If we can hold Dr. Loomis. It doesn't have to be the last character, but maybe toward the end. And let's start with the girls. Does anybody have a problem with that?
No.
Not at all. You can set the order however you want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, what we usually do is we go off the order that I just have it done, and I didn't even think about it when I did this several months ago and had the list down and all that. So okay.
Yeah, however you want to do it, it's fine.
Cool. All right. Who would like to go first? What?
Let me ask you one thing. You're saying that we're looking at 1968?
Well, the film comes out in 68, and it's present day, just like the original film was.
Okay.
Because the original film came out in 1978, and it was set in 1978. So it's the same thing, except for we just moved it back 10 years.
Yep.
Okay. So who'd like to go first?
I'll kick us off.
Okay.
All right. Now, I will warn you guys. I'm not very versed in actors in 1968. So.
Oh, come on. We all have to Google these things. It's every time.
Yeah, you're right.
It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I did that with this wasn't a lot.
You may see a theme with mine.
Also not unusual, but not a problem either.
Right.
Jensen Ackles.
Yeah.
Pretty
much.
He wasn't even born in 68.
he intentionally set this up so Jensen Ackles hadn't been born yet. So
Right. All right. For Laurie Strode. Now this would be a main character, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little bit more serious with my pick. And when I found my girl, I kind of laughed because it was like I was trying to be serious. But I went with, now also reminder, in 68, there was not a lot of teen actors. And you had girls in their 20s playing teenagers, like Annette Funicelli and that kind of stuff. So I think even Jamie Lee Curtis, when she played this part, was like in her 20s, wasn't she? Or just turned 20 or so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still happens to this day. So
it does, especially if you look younger. Hey, that's a plus in Hollywood, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with Jacqueline Smith.
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
She would have been, I think, just turning 20 here. I think she could pull it off.
Oh yeah.
Of course, you know, a wide range of interacting roles and stuff. And she was always my favorite angel. So, yeah.
All right. So who would like to go next?
Oh, I'll jump in there
Okay.
because mine's gonna prove to have a bit of a theme too, but I'm not until we get a little further in. But yeah, so I kind of picked you suggested leading with the girls, and I kind of picked the girls together. Although I picked them from different things, from different places, but they kind of came all at once, pretty much. It was very, very quick. And since Laurie is kind of like Liz said, kind of the star of the show, I went with someone who was kind of just starting to hit it really big at the time, and who actually fits kind of the theme I figured out I was doing after the fact. I chose Raquel Welch.
Ooh. Okay.
That's different.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
I do too.
Okay, Les, your turn.
I'm looking at Olivia Hussey, who was Juliet in Romeo and Juliet.
Mm-hmm. And she also played Norma Bates in Psycho 4, the beginning.
Yes.
So that's kind of a nice little tie.
Yeah, I think she actually would have been pretty young at the time too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think the controversy with Romeo and Juliet was that she was like 15 at the time.
yeah. Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing. She's supposed to be playing a teenager. It should be pretty natural for her. So.
Yeah, but she's nude in the film. So there's that. So there's that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
Okay, for me, for all three girls, I definitely went with actors who have had a little experience at this point, not a lot, because that's kind of similar situation with the original film. I was looking for someone who's kind of the bookworm, but obviously she's hanging out with the cheerleader and the other party girl, that type of thing. So I saw the name. I'm like, okay, because she actually appears in what some say was the inspiration for the original Halloween. I went with Andrea Martin,
Hmm.
who was in the original Black Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
She can definitely do the whole bookworm thing, and I like her. I think she's a little underrated as an actress. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Liz, next one.
All right. Speaking of cheerleader,
Mm-hmm.
let me pull my notes back up. We've got Linda. I can't say her last name. What's her last name? Vanderklot? Vanderklot?
I thought you said you couldn't say her last name.
Yeah.
You just said her last name.
I just said it, yeah. For this one, I went with Anne Gillian.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's interesting. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
Very
Would have
nice.
been about that age, too.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, Mikey.
Okay. This one's going to be a bit of a giveaway for what I ended up being my kind of overall plan for this movie, which like I said, I didn't figure out until the beginning. I chose her primarily because this one was the overt choice because she had been in a few Hammer films already by this time, or were in them right around this time. So I chose Susanna Lee.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought she looked the part. I thought it would be interesting to see what she could do with it. Yes, she's British, but that's okay. It works out in the end because I ended up kind of being all over the place in that regard. And the way my brain put this together was basically like a Hammer film anyway. Because, I mean, you think of Halloween, you think independent horror film. I mean, that's kind of what Hammer was doing at the time.
Right.
So it would be a good place to shop a movie like this,
Mm-hmm.
which is a little outside the norm for 1968. So
No, I like it.
Yep. Me too.
Alrighty, Les.
I picked somebody that was kind of spunky, like the role was showing in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I went with Nancy Allen.
Okay. Yeah,
cool.
I like it.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun.
Well, for me, like I said, I was going with actresses who had not had a lot of experience, but have had some. And I don't know, when I saw this name, I was like, okay, I didn't realize that she had been acting this far back. but I started kind of thinking about it. I'm like, oh no, I gotta do it. And she definitely is the cheerleader type. Farrah Fawcett.
Yep.
Nice. Yep.
Another angel.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
We may see another one.
We're gonna see Bosley, guys. I'm calling it right now.
That's who she picked for Loomis. It's got to be.
Mm-hmm. Was it David Boyle? Is that his name?
No. Could be his brother, though.
Okay, next.
All right. For Annie Brackett, my other angel I picked was Kate Jackson for this one.
Okay.
But I just want it to be known, when I picked Jacqueline Smith and Kate Jackson, I didn't piece together they were angels until after they were picked.
She intentionally picked a Charlie's Angels pre-union here.
Yeah, right.
The prequel is right here in Haddonfield
Yeah.
in the 60s.
They're going to kick Michael's butt.
You know, they might.
Yeah, they might have.
They might have.
Yep. We could have had a whole different movie on our hands.
Mm.
Well, speaking of Michael.
Oh, that was subtle. So this was one of my. I mean, I was at this point I was stuck in the UK a little bit, despite the fact that this person's not actually from the UK. But and honestly, what I was picking her for was stuff she did later, because she got pretty famous later. But I also think that she would make an interesting addition to this cast. I chose Maude Adams.
Ooh.
She would be a bit young. I mean, she's still in her 20s, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You like?
Mm-hmm. Me too.
All right, Les.
Keeping with the idea of age group, for Annie, I took Christine Lottie.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
She's good.
For me, this is another one that when I was doing my research, the name popped up. I'm like, oh, I gotta do it since I've done what I've done already. Another one who didn't have a lot under her belt at the time, but would be kind of big. She wasn't Farrah Fawcett big like in the 70s, but she was big. Barbie Benton.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Hughes Squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's her. Okay, Liz.
All right, now we got a boy. We got little Tommy Doyle, who would have been like 8 or 9 in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So finding teenagers was rough.
Yeah.
I almost went with Jay North, but he would have been too old. He would have been like a babysitter at this time. So instead, I went with another well-known little kid, and I went with Leif Garrett, who would have been
Oh, all right.
8 or 9 at this time.
Yeah.
All right. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You find a kid.
I found a kid.
Yeah.
You're gonna love
No,
how I found a kid too.
I understand. And let me kind of pull back the curtain a little bit. It was either doing Tommy or doing Bob, which was Linda's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Tommy's in the film a lot more, so I thought it was a little bit more of an important character. But when I started kind of doing the research and all that, trying to find who I could cast, I was like, oh, this is going to be tough. So I understand. So that was the process. So.
Yep. No worries. We'll manage.
Mm-hmm. Well, how did you manage, Mike?
Okay. So I managed by looking at other movies that came out in '68.
Mm-hmm.
And Liz is going to love where I'm going with this. Because one movie that had a bunch of children in it that came out in 1968 was Yours, Mine, and Ours.
There you go.
Starring Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
And so I looked at the kid list on that one, and the oldest one was, one, too old, and two, I didn't think was going to fit the part all that well. It was Tim Matheson. So I was like, nah, what's the next youngest kid? And so the next youngest kid's name is Gary Getzman. And it's a name you might not have heard, and you might not know the kid when you saw him. But he was in that movie. He actually went on to become a producer. And honestly, if you want a connection to something, he was one of the producers on The Silence of the Lambs in 1980.
Ooh, okay.
So there you go. So he got thrown in as Tommy Doyle.
That's cool.
And looking at the picture, the shots from the movie, he couldn't have been more than 11 or 12. So it would have been close enough.
Okay. Very cool.
I like that.
I do too.
All right, Les, your choice.
My choice for Tommy is John Franklin. John Franklin was known for Children of the Corn.
Okay.
Interesting.
And he did 2 of those movies.
All right. Yeah, there was a couple that I pulled up. I'm like, okay, a little bit older, but I mean that'll be okay. But I finally settled on one who, at this time, he would have been. Let me check that date again. He would have been about 8 or 9, but he was already on a very successful TV show at the time. I went with Johnny Whitaker. Jody from Family Affair.
Family Affair.
Oh, yeah. That kid. Sure.
That kid.
Cool.
Doable.
Very doable. I thought so, obviously, since I picked him.
I know. What a giveaway.
Okay, Liz, who are we doing next?
Okay. And I didn't see her on the list, but I cast Melissa Sue Anderson as Lindsay. But next on our list, we have Sheriff Lee Brackett. Mm-hmm. I didn't know who to pick for this one. Him and Loomis kind of eluded me for a while. I decided to go with Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier, okay.
Brackett. Wow.
All right.
That's interesting.
That's an interesting choice, yeah.
He did play a cop.
He did.
Actually, I think he would have been a cop at this time in The Heat of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
That's right around there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Virgil Tibbs.
Who did you have as Annie again?
As Annie? Oh, let me pull that up again. As Annie, I had Kate Jackson. Oh, duh.
Artistic license, man. Let it go.
Yeah. She's adopted, man.
Yeah.
wasn't Lori, it was her.
Well, that changes the movie a bit. Jeez.
That does.
Alrighty, Mikey.
Oh yeah, me.
Yeah.
I was flipping around again through movies that came out in that time period, obviously. And I actually picked somebody who might honestly be a touch young for the part, but I think he's got the presence to pull it off anyway. I chose Gary Lockwood.
Okay.
I mean, it seemed like he'd play a good cop to me, among other things. I mean, he could have done a lot of things, but I thought he would make an interesting sheriff.
That would work.
That would.
Les.
For me, I went. Let me double check something real quick, please. Because he did a movie called Joe.
Okay.
And that was in 1970.
Okay.
Which is a movie I highly recommend. I went with Peter Boyle.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Just because of his part in Joe.
Okay.
And Joe was a fabulous movie.
Like that.
Interesting.
I'm going to have to write that down and check out that movie, Joe. It's just Joe?
Joe.
Okay. All right. I'll see what I can do.
I think it deals with police and drugs, and he's a factory worker, and he confesses about murdering his daughter's drug-dealing boyfriend.
Nice.
It is on Tubi.
So not a comedy then.
Of course.
Oh, heavily not. No.
Oh, but it sounds cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of him, I've been really wanting to watch Outland again. It's been so long since I've seen that, and he's in that with Sean Connery. Yeah,
I haven't seen that probably since it came out.
and Frances, I think it's Frances McDormand. I think that's her name. Who anybody who's watched the Closer, the Kara Sigwitz TV series from a few years back, she was the mom. She was her mom. With Barry Corbin playing her dad. So.
Okay.
So, yeah.
She was also in Fargo.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Alrighty. For me, I was looking at the list, and I saw a particular name. And as much love as we have given this actor, I don't know if his name has ever come up in any of our casting calls. And I'm like, oh God, you know he'd be good in it. Dick Miller.
Oh, really? Okay.
As the cop, that would be fun. That would be fun.
Because he does do serious work.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. That would be fun.
that would be.
I like it.
Okay, Liz.
All right. I guess we're at the man of, well, no. Oh, I didn't cast him.
We could do Loomis. That's fine. Go ahead.
Are we doing Loomis
We
now?
can do Loomis.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could do Loomis.
It's been
Yeah.
long enough.
I actually had two choices for him, and I finally decided on Jack Klugman, only because his work in Quincy.
Okay.
Interesting.
But I almost went with Peter Falk. So
Just one more thing.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Both of those are good picks.
Yes, they are.
I'm sitting here trying to say I like one better than the other, but I don't. They're both great.
I love those. Yeah. Okay, Mike.
All right, so as fun as those ideas are, I went a little different route because I was thinking, like I said, I was thinking independent horror movie in the 60s. Which, oddly enough, I came up with this one before I started thinking about Hammer, because otherwise there's just a super obvious choice. So I decided to leave. I looked back at it and I was like, no, I'm going to leave the super obvious choice for someone else. I chose Lon Chaney Jr.
Okay.
Huh.
There you go.
Yeah,
All right.
I like it.
Yep.
I
nice.
think he's just got just that kind of thing going on, that it's just the kind of borderline panic mode thing that he does sometimes that would fit Loomis perfectly.
Okay, Les.
So we're back to Loomis.
You're back to Loomis.
Well, I had some choices here, and it was tough.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good there's a lot of good actors that could do this role. Yeah. And do it well.
I was looking at 3 different ones. James Caan, Dan Hedaya, and Howard Hessman. But I decided to go British and take Michael Caine.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, Mikey, before I give mine, what was the super obvious choice?
Peter Cushing.
Okay. Which is funny, because I don't know if y'all know this. Carpenter went after Christopher Lee originally.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think I have heard that.
And he turned it down. He's like, I wish I hadn't.
I bet.
So, for me, you mentioned the low budget, independent. This actor has done it all. And just like several of your choices, this would have been a box office draw. Vincent Price.
Ooh.
That's almost as obvious as Peter Cushing. That's great.
I like that.
Yeah, but nobody said it.
I know. That's great.
Yeah.
That's greatness.
I like that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, so did anybody cast Michael?
I did not cast Michael.
I didn't either, because
I did.
he's okay.
But again, I went with the super obvious choice.
Okay.
I put Dave Prowse in The Mask.
There you go. That works.
Yeah.
I actually also, unless you have something for that.
No.
I did one extra, which is
Okay.
maybe a little off the beaten path. It's not a role we've cast before, I don't think, in any of these ever.
Okay.
I cast The Mask.
Ooh,
The
okay,
Mask
yeah.
itself.
Yeah, it's going to have to be something different, because I don't know if the Kirk mask was around. I mean, Kirk was obviously,
It was probably there, but it wouldn't have had the effect.
Yeah.
The one I chose would definitely have the effect, because I looked it up, and in 1969, the next year, the #1 Halloween mask by sales was Elvis.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shook up.
Take the Elvis mask and paint it
spray
white.
paint
And
it
make
white.
Right.
Yep.
open the eye holes a little bit more, because that's what they did with the Shatner mask. And there you go.
Yeah.
No, it's
Michael
all.
has left the building.
Damn it, Liz, you ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
come on. Don't be cruel.
Just love you tender.
Nope.
Did anyone other than Liz find Lindsay?
I did not cast Lindsay. I
did not.
should have.
I went with Madeline Stowe.
Okay.
She would have been 8 to 10 years old at that time.
Oh, wow, cool. Was she a child actor?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay, cool. I mean, it didn't matter if she wasn't. It's fine, but I was curious.
I like that.
Mhm.
Lori. No, she could have been Lori. I like that.
Very nice. Very nice choices all around.
Okay, now I do have something here,
Oh,
if I
okay.
may.
Mm-hmm.
I also looked at this if we were to remake it now.
Mhm. Which is a definite possibility.
I would start with Lindsay being Ryan Kiera Armstrong. She was in Firestarter.
Okay.
Which was also a remake.
Yeah. Michael Myers was Audie Rick, who was in Kenobi.
Okay.
Sheriff Lee Brackett is Michael Keaton.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Doyle was Zach Solzbach, who was on Hawaii Five-0.
Okay.
Annie, I've got Mackenzie Foy from I think it's a Disney movie, Black Beauty.
Okay.
Linda Vanderklok is Meg Donnelly, which I'm sure Liz knows about. She's on Winchester.
Yeah, as Mary.
Laurie Strode is Isabel May from Young Sheldon. And Sam Loomis I've got as Gary Oldman.
Neat.
Okay. I'm there.
Yeah,
Sold.
I like it. Yep.
Ullman is a definite in. So.
You could cast cardboard cutouts for everybody else, and Oldman
Yep.
would carry the movie.
Hell, he could do all the roles.
Mm-hmm.
He can pull Alec Guinness or Peter Sellers and just do all the roles.
Just do it all.
Mm-hmm.
Be fun to watch him try too.
Yeah. Very nice.
But thank you for the time there too.
No, not a problem.
Yeah.
And you talk about the remake. I just saw, it just came down today, and I could save this for the news, but I've got something else for the news segment. Miramax is trying to find someone to they're trying to sell the rights to where they can do a movie or do TV series based off Halloween. That was in Bloody Disgusting, if anybody wants to check that out. I did see a video just a couple hours ago from someone on YouTube and then I'll submit a link. It's someone I just started following who was giving his opinions about this because he's a big Halloween fan. He does a lot of his videos, his analysis and news items of mainly 80s horror and all that. So he's been busy recently with Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and all that. But with this stuff coming down here, it sounds like the thinking is here that the TV series, which the idea has been playing around for the last couple of years or so, and this may make y'all a little, y'all may groan at this, but it may be the TV series may be an adaptation and updating Season of the Witch.
Hmm.
And then turning the TV series into the anthology series that was supposedly the original intention.
See, you say that, but this is interesting to me.
Oh, it is, yeah. I mean, I think it would work better as a series, especially since you have more time to kind of flesh out the characters, definitely work out all the issues with the plot.
Mm-hmm.
But doing the anthology series, that's just like American Horror. You know, you have a season or so, a series or so, based off this one particular story, and then the next series is a different story. I think that would work real well. As
long as they did it like seasonal and not episodic like Friday the 13th did. That was...
Yeah, no, my understanding is that American Horror Story does it as they do it like eight episodes at a time, and that's one story.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a whole season. And
Well, the
each
whole season is eight
theme.
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, seasons don't mean the same thing that they used to.
Yeah.
They don't go 26 or 39 episodes now. They just go 6 to 8 to 13, something like that.
Anywhere from 6 to 13. Yeah, that's pretty much the way it is now.
Yeah.
I love the idea. I think that's a great idea, but there seems to be a lot of interest in thinking about Season of the Witch, about them doing something with it. So the more I'm hearing this type of stuff, the more it makes me think that this is actually going to happen. Which, if y'all have listened to, didn't we do it in April? We went over Season of the Witch. We'll have to put the link in the show notes. I'll get that for you.
We did talk about it. We toured a new one, basically. But,
well, yeah.
But that doesn't mean it can't be fixed.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if they modernize it, it would solve a lot of problems. It would solve my issues with the ending.
Right.
Instead of it being a broadcast on 3 major networks, you go to the website.
Mm-hmm.
The giveaways are going to be on their website. And that type of stuff. That stuff can be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of movie, and especially with Myers, there's really nothing. I know there's been some scuttlebutt about Danielle Harris having an idea, and if not remembering the name, Danielle Harris played Jamie Lloyd, the little girl from Halloween 4 and 5, who was Jamie's daughter. She had an idea to do for a direct sequel to Halloween 4. But from everything I'm hearing that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. And it was funny because I had watched someone last month who said, I wasn't going to post anything, but everybody's been asking me about this and all that, so I'm doing this video. He says it's not going to, from what sources I have, which is not a lot of sources, and from what I'm hearing that I depend on, saying this is not going to happen. I can't go into the details, but just forget it. And I'm like, well, you really can't do that, but okay.
Right.
But the thing that's so funny, because he's like, I can't go into any kind of details and all that. Then you go down into reading the comments. He responds to one commenter and says, well, Malik Akkad, who's the guy who owns Michael Myers. His dad was Mustafa, the guy who's been over this since the beginning until he passed away a few years ago. The one that says Michael can never die. Apparently, Malick and Danielle Harris do not have a good relationship. So he doesn't want to do it. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we have no idea what's going to happen. I have an idea of what's going to happen, or what I would hope they would do. And it's an idea that y'all are going to groan, but it's the only thing that makes sense. Reboot. Start from the beginning. Just clear all this stuff out and start over. Because I talked to y'all on I guess about a week or it was last week pre-recording about our friend Patrick was asking questions about the films and being confused, and I said, well, that's because there's like 4 timelines with these films. So yeah, I could see you being confused. And to do a new film based off of another existing film and saying, well, okay, you can this is part of this canon, but this is not. This is, but that's not. And then all that, that's asking a lot. I think it would be better to just start over and just go from there if you actually still want to do movies.
Right, and see, my concern with something like that is how long would it take before you get some producer turnover and all of a sudden they're remaking the off timelines as if they're supposed to be there.
Well,
that's my concern, is because it'll happen.
It's a legit concern, but that's when you get Malick and whoever he has to write these things is sit down and come up with a freaking game plan. Don't just go in there and do Halloween 2028 and then 2 years later we'll get back and try to figure out what to do with the sequel. You have an idea of a storyline to go about 3 or 4 movies.
You're pitching the HCU, the Halloween Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, hell, just to have a basic storyline and loose enough to where there could be some changes and some things added. That's okay, but you have a general outline of where you're wanting to take the story, not just let's do one film and then we'll deal with how we want to continue it in a couple of years or a year later, however you want to do it, and then you go, okay.
Because that's another trap you can fall into. Oh, we're going to reboot the first movie and then see where to go from there.
Yeah.
Well, the obvious and easy and probably cheap way to go is to just reboot the second movie. And then reboot the third movie. And then you're already lost again.
Yeah.
And that's why it has to have way tighter control over it than pretty much anything else we've ever seen other than the MCU.
Right.
So get Feige in there to do it.
I think they should just leave it alone. There's nothing wrong with having classics.
I was actually considering saying that myself. Maybe it's time to just stop.
Stop.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see that.
And that's I love Michael,
especially since with the 2018 version and the sequels to that, they actually managed to fall into the same trap in the third movie, according to you guys.
Yeah.
So maybe it just can't be done. Maybe nobody has the wherewithal to do it, and so we should just stop trying.
Yeah, and appreciate the classic.
And that's not a knock on the fact that you would like to see more. I get that, and I appreciate that, but nobody can be trusted so far.
No.
Well, and here's the other thing. Always leave them wanting.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars fans were wanting more films. We got the sequels, and no one has been happy.
Mm-mm.
You know, but it's not just Star Wars. It's Star Trek. It's all these big franchises.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's more people complaining about stuff they love, which, I mean, it's fair. I mean, you don't love something, it's okay to complain about it. But the thing is it just seems like that's all you hear.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear. I mean, granted, 2018 there was so much love for that. I mean, there were some detractors, but everybody loved that. But that was also, I think it was lightning in the bottle. You had guys and women who loved the original film, wanted to do everything to honor it. That's not going to be the case who picks up the next film.
Right. That gets harder to do with consecutive movies, because people are going to move on and do something else, and so you're going to have people doing it, but it's not the people who loved it enough the first time to make that work.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, again, that's why part of the thing is, if they're going to do it, they need to have a game plan for several installments. And then you can tweak it as accordingly, but you know where you're going from point A to point whatever, point Z, or whatever, however you want to do it, instead of just reacting, which is what everybody does.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
Any final thoughts before we take a break?
Nope. It was fun though.
Yep.
These things usually are, even though they require homework.
Send us your list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us who you want to see in these things.
Yeah, definitely.
We're cool with that.
On that note, we are going to take a quick break and be back with geek news for you. And we're back, and it's time for geek news for you. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. And this week, it's Mikey and myself. And Mikey, would you like to go first?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure.
I like to go first. I don't know. I don't care about going first. Whatever. Anyway, the point. We're getting to the point. So a few days ago in our Discord, somebody posted an article. Liz.
Me? I didn't do it.
You totally did it. It has your name on it and everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, no, the article is essentially kind of an announcement about a new game coming out next year based on the Lord of the Rings. This game is apparently going to be called Tales of the Shire, and they are describing it as a cozy new game set in the famous world created by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it's been developed by Weta Workshop, which is the group in New Zealand that helped Peter Jackson make the movies. So, you know, you'd like to think that it's going to have some cool stuff. And given that it's not all swords and armor, I mean, it wouldn't be cozy if it was. Also, it wouldn't be about the Shire. There wasn't a lot of swords and armor in the Shire in that movie.
Not really.
Yeah.
Because they skipped a whole section at the end of the book. But I digress. But yeah, they're saying this is slated to come out next year. So that will be interesting. If you're
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and if you're curious about what or at least have something to compare it to, there is actually a Lord of the Rings based MMO that's been around for 15 years,
Hmm.
kind of under the radar. It's called The Lord of the Rings Online.
That's sad. I remember when it was in beta.
Yeah, it's not in beta anymore.
No, it's way past beta.
It's way
It's like the
past
alpha now.
Pretty sure alpha comes before beta, but anyway, we're, we're kind of somewhere like in the epsilon range, I think. I don't know. But yeah, it's still going strong. They're still updating it multiple times a year. It's a pretty cool game.
Yeah.
If you're interested in checking it out, I'll hear this when I edit it, but I will stick a link in the show notes to get to the game itself. And like I said, it's an MMO, so there's like other people in it, which is kind of
Like
cool.
free roam. That's pretty cool.
Yep. It's a kind of a landscape-based thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's just lots of people running around doing stuff, enjoying being in Middle Earth.
Very nice.
So yeah,
That's
it'll be
cool.
interesting to see what they come out with for next year. That'll be fun.
It will. Yeah. Well, it's cool that they chose the hobbits to center on. It seems like the other Lord of the Rings kind of skips over them. Frodo's a playable character, but you never really see his home world. It's always,
I mean, there are sections of the Shire in the game, but yeah, it's like early game stuff, and you leave it and go away and
Yeah.
essentially follow the Fellowship around, fetching things.
yeah. This should be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be cool
I'm
to see
excited.
how they take this one.
Hmm.
Very nice. For me, there was a item in IndieWire just here a couple of days ago, and it was discussing the average theatrical window. And apparently earlier this year, it was 30 days. And it's expanded to 40 over the summer. And the article is talking about, hey, this could be a real thing from now on. Because it used to be 70 days. If a movie hits theater, and it's there for like 70 days, and then it's automatically moved over, or it's available on video on demand and all that. So 70 days down to 30 or 40. And it was talking about, depending on the situation and all that studios may play around with that. And God, that's going to hurt theaters. Because you don't know when all of a sudden this film is just going to disappear, and you're going, and they're trying to fill that hole. But I could see studios doing that because they would be looking at it going, okay, we've got all the money we're going to get from people going to the theater seeing it. It's time to yank it and put it on demand and start making money there. I mean, from everything I've been reading and seeing, earlier this summer, all there was Indiana Jones's bombing. Indiana Jones's bombing. Oh my God, what the hell's going on? As soon as it went to VOD, it's doing like gangbusters.
Hmm.
That's not going to help things for the theaters when they see that. The thing that's kind of amazing is it talks about the film Oppenheimer.
Hmm.
It's probably on a 90-day window because it's still there. I mean, Barbie, which opened the same day, is now available on video on demand, but they're talking about bringing it back to the theaters again.
For an alternate scene at the end.
Yeah, well,
please. I could never hop on the Barbie train. I liked Barbies as a kid, but maybe it's Margot Robbie. I don't know. I just and I like pink. I should like this movie.
Yeah. Because let me read this part of the article here. It says, however, there's no clear parallel between gross and home availability. Barbie, the biggest hit of the summer by a magnitude, made its debut after 53 days. And apparently, guess what the rental cost is on it?
Like $30.
$24.99 to rent.
Yeah.
Damn. Nope.
Yeah.
I can't get behind that either.
No. Especially if you wait a week or two, you can buy it for that and watch it 1,000 times. You know?
Yeah, you buy the Blu-ray. Yeah, and there you go. Waiting 60 to 88 days were Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, as well as 5 other Disney titles: Guardians of the Galaxy, Little Mermaid, Elemental, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Plus Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion's already on VOD?
Yep. Recently. But yeah.
That just came out a month ago?
I didn't even know it came out, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Well, for the strikes, nobody could promote it or anything. So
right.
Disney, instead of using the actors, they actually used, I think it was like the puppets to promote the movie and for the red carpet and everything. Just cute, you know. But yeah, hardly any waves.
Yeah.
That was like a friend told me that Continental just started on Peacock, and it's supposed to be centered in the world of John Wick. I haven't heard anything about it.
I saw
it's like
a
really
commercial for it like over the weekend, and it was the first I'd heard of it.
Yeah, like nothing, not a word. And we're talking John Wick, Keanu. People are going to tune in, you know. And
well, Keanu's not in this as far as I can
tell.
No. Yeah.
But he made that world popular.
Oh, big time.
You know. So it's kind of like, wow, I'm surprised at how I mean, I know with the strikes going on, there's not a lot they can do, but fucking throw a tweet out or something, you know.
Right. Words work in a pinch.
Word of mouth, you know. But had my friend not told me about it, I wouldn't have known anything about it at all. And it's crazy because I'm on Peacock all the time here lately. They have some good stuff if you guys are ever looking for something. I'm surprised. It's one of the cheaper services I pay for, and there's like tons of stuff. Movies, TV shows, new TV shows.
Of the 33 summer releases, 17 had theatrical windows of fewer than 30 days.
Oh.
Less than a month. 6 were from Universal. 6 were from Universal. All major studios had at least one quick turnaround, except for Disney, which maintained a minimum window of 60 days, no matter what the gross. That's a huge shift from 2 years ago when Disney sent some of the top titles to Disney Plus debuts or day and date theatrical. Okay, you remember that?
Yeah, but we kind of had to 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, because of the pandemic. Yeah, I get that, but still.
A couple of people did that. Didn't Warner Brothers throw a couple of theirs straight out too?
Yeah, I remember. Was it Spielberg that was complaining about them doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because they tossed out Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's what it was. And also the 4-hour snooze fest. But do you guys remember back in the good old days when it used to take almost a year for it to come out to video?
Oh yeah, I
I'm
remember.
not going to admit to remembering that. That would make me old.
Now, I didn't say anything about going at the video store to pick that up.
Right, because that shit was VHS is what you're talking about.
Right. But yeah, it used to be a lot longer. And then you had Disney, who would put it out on video for like 6 months and then lock it away in the vault.
Hmm.
That's why tapes like, Cinderella and Dumbo, even The Little Mermaid went up in value because they weren't out there all the
Because they
time.
were always limited release.
Yep,
Disney, if nothing else, knows how to make money.
they do.
Mhm.
Well, and they know how to keep the value of their property, They didn't muddy the waters. They just, here you go for a little while. Now we'll give you something else later. And we were happy with that. And now we're mad waiting 60 days for Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's a different time, too. I think kind of like what I was talking about earlier, things we learned to accept during the pandemic and stuff. A lot of that was people learned it's cheaper to watch it at home. I can pause the movie, I can go pee, I can cook dinner, I can whatever and come back to it. Movie theater tickets are at least $20 now, and that's just to get in the door, let alone if you want drink, popcorn. I see movies as a dying breed. It's nice, but there's other alternatives now that they showed us that we can do, and we like them better.
Now, you're going to make less sad talking like that.
Well, no, and I'm not saying get rid of movie theaters.
Yes, you are.
But honestly, think about it though. If you had places like AMC and the other big one, Cinemark, just go away, and left little places like Alamo and what is the other one? The Movio Studio and Grill. Those little places would thrive. Just because not everybody wants that experience every time they go to the movies now. Every once in a while, hey, that's cool. And like Oppenheimer, people were saying, oh, you have to see this on the big screen. There are a few things like that. But I'm fine with my TV at home.
Well,
So I bought a big TV.
you talk about the experience, and we've witnessed it with Alamo. And we've talked about this in the past. Is the theaters got to rethink things. It's not just okay. Here's this movie and just throw it up on the screen and they will come. Well, no, they may not.
Yeah.
That's one of the charms about Alamo is they do special stuff. They do like Saturday morning cartoons, so people can actually show up in like their PJs and all that, and watch cartoons, and they offer cereal for you to eat and all that.
What if I sleep naked?
Well, you're in trouble then, aren't you?
I was going to say, Pee Wee Herman got in a lot of trouble for that.
Well, I don't think he was nude. He just happened to be taking care of business.
Just enough. Yeah. I completely agree. And don't they also have like actors and stuff that used to, that would come in from sometimes and talk about the movie and.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
last
'cause,
Saturday morning, Bugs Bunny was there in the movie theater. No, but yeah, they do bring in.
Yeah,
See, that would be cool. That would be a different experience,
Mm-hmm.
That's how Les and I met with Richard Kiel.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the thing is from what I understand, and Les, correct me if I'm wrong, James Plimpton was supposed to be there as well, and they were actually gonna do the original North Dallas 40, but James had to cancel, so they turned around and did Moonraker.
Mhm.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool. See, but being a small place like that, they could think on the fly and,
Right.
you know,
Reschedule stuff.
yeah.
That's when the time that the Alamo had the cast member of The Room there for their showing of the Room, which is a hysterically bad movie.
Mm.
And
Hi, Mark.
but before they showed the movie, they did a whole reading of the movie, and after they did that, of course, everybody was happy with it. And then they turned around and said, "Now, give us 20 minutes and we'll show you the movie." We went, "What?" So having
Pretty cool.
Yeah, having actors there is phenomenal.
Yeah. And see, that's the kind of experience I would pay for. But to go into a theater with sticky floors and set me by a bunch of people I don't know and then turn the lights off? Nah. That just don't sound fun.
Oddly specific description, but yeah.
Right. And usually my date falls asleep 10 minutes into the movie, so. I love you, Phil.
Uh-huh. See you in the room?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the look.
Why would he give you a look like that?
Can't
I
imagine.
don't understand.
How does he even know who your date was for that movie? I mean, geez. Hi, Phil.
I can't tell you how many times we sat down to watch a movie, and he's like, we've never seen this. And I'm like, yeah, we did. I did. We went to the movies and watched this one.
Man, I, for one, am jealous of people that they turn the lights out and they just go to sleep.
Shoot.
Shit, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I've never
Fill
been
his
able to do
belly
that.
up, put him in a dark, cold room, and he's out. Gone.
Yeah,
And yeah,
nice.
that's the normal thing to do, dinner and a movie, you know.
Dinner and a nap, what?
Pretty much, you know. He wakes up 2 hours later, he's ready to eat again.
Yeah, there's a motel down the street that might have been cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been able to do that. I know my sister said that she had that experience once, and it was the film Against All Odds. She said she remembered opening credits, and then that was it.
Phil Collins
Oh.
put her to sleep with that one, huh?
Well, that was probably about the only thing that was good about that film.
Well, there's that also, yes.
That, which reminds me of the film Summer Lovers, which I sat to watch that just so I can hear Hard to Say by I'm Sorry by Chicago. Guess when?
You
Yeah.
could have just bought the CD, man.
Well, I know, but still, I was wanting to know when it was actually in the film. And for the record, at the fucking end.
Of course.
Ending credits.
Because that's your luck
No,
right
but
there.
no, it was before the credits. But I mean, it's like, oh shit.
See, at home, you could have fast forwarded it to the part you wanted to see. Unless you know a guy at the movie theater, that's kind of hard.
Well, also, this was decades ago, but anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nowadays it's good. You just find it on YouTube. Someone's
Well-
already clipped it, and put it on YouTube. So
You could have known a guy then, too.
anyway,
Luigi Scapetti.
That's a nice movie you got there. Be a shame if something was to happen to it.
Mm. Alrighty. Any special shout outs or mentions this week?
No, not me.
Not here.
No.
Okay, we'll move on to our regular shout outs. Before I do that, I do want to point out that we've mentioned it several times already. Starting next week, it's Horror Month, and should I go ahead? Should I go ahead and give away the theme?
Sure.
Halloween.
Why not?
I'd like to know.
If you hadn't figured it out yet, Les, then good luck. We're doing 50 sci-fi horror, so that'll be fun. And once again, we'll have a special episode. Matter of fact, we'll be recording that here in the next couple of days. So that's gonna be fun. It always is. So hang around for that. Okay. First off, we want to thank Pop Goes Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of fellow podcasts. In our show notes, you can find a link there where you can go check them out. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who make up Modern Family, who've been so kind enough as to spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links. The best way to check them out is to go to X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. Do a search, hashtag Modern Family, all one word. Scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, click on that link, download that episode. We hope you have a great time checking them out. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. In our show notes, there will be a link where you can hear some of their other tunes. Thank you guys as always. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any comments, questions, suggestions, complaints, observations, what have you, please send them our way. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofgeeks.net, or you can go to the website, click on the About Us tab, and there's a contact form you can fill out there. Didn't mention this. We might have mentioned it in passing, but I did not go out of my way to mention that we do have a Discord. It's been up for a couple of years now. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussions, stuff to laugh at, videos and fun activities and all that. We do have a section there for feedback, so if you want to post your thoughts there, we will definitely check them out and respond. Sign up for Discord is free, and the app is in the app stores for free as well. Social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Instagram, Twitter, and Hive Social, we're at Fellowship Geeks. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We do appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,